I have an announcement to make, and that is that the DSM 4, 5, whatever, does not own autistic people. So here's the thing, is that psychiatry, unfortunately, still has the highest authority diagnosing autism. That's actually completely unjust and doesn't really make any sense. It should be a neurologist and or neuropsychologist who has the highest authority in diagnosing autism. Autism is a neurological brain difference, and psychiatry is, first of all, not actually based in science, and second of all, to do with some sort of pseudoscience which holds a lot of clout, created to recognize mental illness and personality disorder, as they call it, which is different and frankly outdated. A lot of these issues are and should be more scientifically based in terms of diagnostic criteria. Even something like supposed personality disorder, I mean, there's people with brain injuries that have similar symptoms to people with supposed personality disorder because they have issues with their prefrontal cortex. It's ridiculous. The amount of power that psychiatrists have is ridiculous in general. The amount of abuse that they're allowed to inflict is outrageous. Honestly, outrageous, particularly to autistic people. Psychiatry doesn't know the first thing about autism. Either they get educated or butt their noses out of something that they don't understand and stop being the highest authority in diagnosing it. The fact that we have to grovel down and beg and rely on psychiatrists like this, I think it's absolute sadism. It's putting us into a position of practical masochism. We're just lucky if we have a psychiatrist who actually believes us. And I'm not saying they're all awful. If they're nice, that equates with being willing to admit that, okay, I guess you are autistic, even though they don't even know that much about it, like 98% of the time, with the odd exception of psychiatrists who happen to take a special interest in it, despite the fact that it's not actually in their field of study. Because again, psychiatry is not based in actual science. The DSM is an archaic piece of trash. You know how like they had a bra burning festival in the good old hippie times? I'd like to have a DSM burning festival. Sometimes I fantasize about that. That would be really cool. Obtain a copy of the DSM and like have a bonfire with it and have like a group of people. Totally. That would be awesome. Anyway, bottom line, the DSM does not define autism, and it doesn't actually define people. Again, what's in the DSM is completely outdated trash that could be easily surpassed by science. Like even a lot of those supposed personality disorders and chemical this and that are endocrine conditions of the body and brain injury, and in the case of autism itself, an actually different set of processing system, a different set of operation, going in different, varied directions. And then, of course, we can be afflicted brain-wise just as other people can, but what's going on in the brain is only a symptom of what's going on in the body. And the other side of it is that when it's to do with trauma and situations and circumstance and whatnot, that's psychology. That's psychology, not psychiatry. Psychiatry doesn't honestly know the first thing about that. In lieu of all this, psychiatrists continue to hold power, hold clout, make subjective labels on people that harm their reputation and their medical care, and harm those people's self-esteem. Not helpful. Seems like just an abuse factory, really. It seems like abuse to me, and structural violence. So in lieu of that, I think psychiatry needs to, I don't know, be replaced by something better. The fact that they still have as much power as they do, I find it disturbing. So, yeah, that's how I feel about psychiatry and the DSM.